Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I am going to be talking about Myria, which is a layer 2 gaming hub built on Ethereum. I'm very bullish on this project. It's one of my top gaming gems for the upcoming bull run. As you guys know, if you watch the channel regular, I'm very bullish on gaming as a whole for the next crypto bull run. I think it's going to be one of the major narratives that catches the eyes of retail and brings in a lot of hype. But before I get into it, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel if you like this type of content. Also, check out my private community, my Patreon page, linked in the description. People are making incredible gains in my Patreon this year on projects such as Nakamoto Games, which we have made over a 15x on now, and PlayZap, which we made around a 7x on at the heights, and I still believe it's going to continue growing. So I did this for my last video where I explained on bullet points why I am so bullish on Casper. But today we're talking about Myria, and I've got all of these different bullet points, and I'm going to talk about each one in depth, discussing why I am so bullish on this project, despite some people saying, oh, but the tokenomics are bad, or the games are going to be bad, or there's no games yet. I'm going to be addressing all of the FUD and explaining in a balanced and nuanced perspective why I believe Myria could blow up this bull run and 100x your money at a minimum. So the first point on this list is it is a gaming layer 2 on Ethereum, which means there's basically zero fees. So Myria is built on Ethereum, which may make some of you guys think, oh, that's going to be really high fees because it's on Ethereum. But actually, the Myria token operates in the ecosystem with basically zero gas fees. This is for minting and for trading NFTs. So Myria is going to be a huge gaming ecosystem, a gaming hub where you have things like NFTs, you get rewards, and all sorts of different things that go on in a gaming ecosystem. And to have high fees would be completely ridiculous, right? Imagine playing a game, you have to buy a skin, you want to trade an NFT, you want to buy and sell a weapon, and you have to pay huge extortionate fees. That is not good. Whereas with Myria, they basically have zero gas fees when doing those types of activities, which obviously means it is cheap, and people are going to like that when they play the games. The next point that I have here is that it is a gaming hub, not merely just one game, but it will have many games, just like Gala. So you guys will remember last bull run, Gala was one of the biggest gaming projects of the cycle alongside Axie Infinity and Sandbox. But the thing that made Gala so unique was the fact that it was a gaming hub, not just relying on one particular game. It had multiple. And you can see the chart for Gala. I believe there's many similarities between Gala and Myria. Myria started off, very on a downwards trajectory. It's been very flat recently. And I believe it's not going to take much to see Myria really start to explode. I think it will happen fast. I think it will happen quick. And if you don't get in, you're going to be basically buying it at much higher levels. So if we take a look at Gala's chart, you can see how it happens. So it was kind of just trading very low market caps down here, 1 million, 20 million, and then it pumped up a bit. It was sideways for a while. And then once we got into kind of like the main parts of the bull run, Gala absolutely exploded, going above a $5 billion market cap. Okay, so you need to bear in mind this was last bull run. Gala has many similarities to Myria, but you need to remember this was last time around. I believe each bull run, crypto gaming is going to get bigger and bigger. That is the definition of a bull run. Is it keeps increasing. It gets bigger, and I think Myria is going to be no different. So this bull run, I'm very bullish on Myria, and part of the reason is based on Gala's past performance. The fact that it's a gaming hub, it's not just relying on one game. If you go on their website, you can go and see all the different games that they have on offer. They've got, their own games, and they've also got the ecosystem developer games. So you've got all sorts of different games here. Some of them look really good. You've got Block Royale, you got Meta Rush, and you've got Meta Kart. So as I just mentioned, one of the main things that is going to be driving Myria is that Gala killer narrative. Now, currently, Gala is having many issues in its business, okay? You've got the founders suing each other. They've just done a token upgrade, which wasn't really perceived too well by many people over there. And many people are just simply done with Gala as a whole, and they're looking for newer alternatives such as Games for a Living token and Myria. I think that is going to continue heading into the bull run. I think Gala is probably only going to do around a 10 to 15x. And projects like GFAL and Myria will go on to do the types of gains that Gala did last time around, but this time. So you need to realize that Myria is still extremely small. According to CoinMarketCap, it has a market cap of around 15 million. I believe it could be a little bit higher. It could be 20 million. But nevertheless, it's extremely small. Very, very small compared to how high Gala went to last bull run. Now, when we do the maths, you can see that is a 366x to the 5.5 billion, which Gala hit last bull run. This puts into perspective how small Myria is when we compare it to the gains that Gala made last time around. Now, let's just say this time crypto gaming explodes even bigger, okay? Projects don't go to a 5 to 10 billion market cap, but they go to 10 to 20 billion. Myria could easily go on to do 300 to 500x this crypto bull run, and it wouldn't even surprise me that much. Another thing that I'm really bullish on with Myria is the fact that they have a doxed team, and not only just a doxed team, but a team with a lot of experience in the gaming industry, which is absolutely vital. So one of the things that made Gala so bullish last bull run was the fact that they had a founder responsible for developing Web 2 games, okay? Their founder, Eric, if you go and look at his LinkedIn page, he founded Zynga, which was a very popular gaming company. And that was one of the main things that people talked about when they discussed Gala, was the experience of the team members. Now, Myria is no different, okay? You go and look at their team. You've got 3 different guys. All of them have a lot of experience, but I believe there's even more people on the team, but I think these are just the main 3 in terms of the project. And you can see that Ivan has worked at Gameloft, Crazy Games, GPG, Ubisoft, right, which is a huge company, and others. It says here that he was responsible for development in games such as Jumanji, Epic Run, to Mortal Kombat, a fighting game. So some really well-known games there that he's worked on. That's extremely bullish for the project. And you can go and look at some of the other members. I believe they have also got a lot of experience. I think this guy also has worked at a lot of big companies. You can see here that it says he worked at Activision and EA and Ubisoft, Sony, and Midway. So he's worked at a lot of companies, 27-year career in professional video games technology development. Okay, so this is no joke. You've got some really big names here on the project. So that adds a degree of transparency, but also adds a degree of trust that this is no joke project. These are people who have serious credibility and credentials in the gaming space, and they're not going to go and just make a project for a joke. Now, one thing that a lot of people talk about when they discuss Myria is the dilution. They say, oh, but the dilution's really bad. It's going to dump on you and all of that. And that's completely understandable. I believe that at the start. But when I dug deeper into the actual vesting schedule for Myria and I looked at the actual vesting, you can see it's actually not that bad. So Myria has a current circulating supply of around 13.2%. By the very end of the bull run, which I expect to be around October 2025, Myria is going to have a 49% circulating supply. So it's going to go from 13% to 49%. It could be much, much worse. It could go from 13% to 100%, but rather it's only going from 13 to 49%. That basically means that Myria has a dilution rate of around 3 to 4x. Okay, so let's say that Myria does a 400x in the bull run. If every single person who received their tokens from vesting sold, the worst case scenario, Myria would only go ahead and do a 108x. Okay, worst case scenario. Now, of course, it's the selling of tokens which leads to the downward price movement, not just the dilution, but the selling, okay, the disposing of tokens. That is what causes the reduction in demand and therefore the decrease in price. Obviously, not everyone's going to sell their tokens. Some people will hold them for the bull run. So this number is probably more likely to be somewhere around 2. And of course, I'm doing very rough estimations here. But that would then mean maybe Myria only does a 200x if the market cap does a 400x. You need to understand dilution, guys, if you're in crypto. And I have made a full video on vesting schedules and dilution over in the Patreon. If you want to go and check that out, you can go and watch it. I dug deep into vesting schedules and I explained it for Myria over in the Patreon. So go ahead and watch that if you are a Patreon. And if you're not, go and check it out. The link's in the description. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is a double-edged sword, okay? And that is that there's no games out yet. This can be very bullish and it can be very bearish. So the reason why it could be seen as a bullish thing is you're basically buying it in its speculative phase. You're buying Myria before the masses know about it and before people are playing the games. This means you're really, really early to it. And therefore, if it does go on to do well and the games are very well developed, which I hope they will be, then you're getting in really early. You're probably going to make ridiculous gains. However, if the games that come out are not very good or they delay the production of games longer than expected, this could be bearish. And that's why I want to let you guys know that this is not a safe crypto project. It's quite high risk. But obviously, the people who made the most gains last bull run were the speculators. No one makes a lot of money in crypto buying finished articles, buying finished products. You make the money by buying the project before it's finished, okay? Early on in the development, in the speculative phase, which I believe Myria is at right now. The people who made the most money on Gala were the people who were buying Gala all the way down here before it had all the crazy partnerships and games. It's the same with Sandbox. It's the same with Axie Infinity and every other project which has succeeded in crypto. By the time it was up here, Gala was already getting great partnerships and loads of games are coming out. It's the same with every project. You need to take risks in crypto if you want to make those 100Xs. And I believe the risk with this one is worth it. And that's why I'm talking about it today. I also believe that Myria has very good marketing and a very good, well-designed website. Now, this may seem a bit facetious to some people, but having a good quality website goes a long way in the crypto space, okay? There's a lot of projects out there that could do really well if they simply just made their website a little bit better on the eye. I think Myria's website is really well designed. You've got all the partnerships there. You've got EA, Activision, some of the great, not partnerships, sorry, the companies that team members have worked at. You can see they've got over 150 people on the company. It's just a really well-designed website. You can see the games that are going to be coming up soon. I believe Meta Rush is going to be the first one that comes out. I think it's in its beta phase and there's already gameplay accessible if you go and watch it online. Then you can click on all games and you can obviously choose Myria Studios and ecosystems. And there you go. There's loads and loads of different games accessible. You can go and look at them. It's a really well-designed website. Simplicity is key, and that is what they've gone for. You would be surprised how important marketing and well-designed websites are in crypto. It's one of the major reasons why Gala did so well last bull run, and Sandbox and other tokens that had well-designed professional websites. It's one of the first things that people look at. They look at the token name, they look at the chart, and they look at the website. Those three things need to be good, and that is a non-negotiable. So in terms of the games that Myria has on offer, they have their own studio games, right, which is Meta Rush, Metacart, and Block Royale. These are games that Myria developers made themselves. And then you have ecosystem developers, which is basically other people, other developers coming and using Myria's technology to build their game, okay? So this is quite bullish. It means you've got two different things in terms of games being produced. You've got Myria themselves, and you've got other people who may want to come on and use the platform. So this adds for more ability, more games, more quantity, not necessarily always more quality, because some of the games aren't too good when you do scroll down. You see a few games, they don't look the best. So obviously some games look quite weird, like this one, right? Not really the best developed games in the world. But obviously it means that you can have thousands and thousands of games on this platform, kind of like Steam. For example, if you go and look for games on Steam, there's some really good games, but then there's some really terrible games that no one plays. And that is how I see Myria being. I see it having a few games like these three, which are really big hits. And then I see it having a few which are just really unknown and no one really cares about. But that's like any huge gaming studio. It's the same with Steam, which is the biggest one on PC. Now, finally, I believe Myria's chart looks good. Now, you may be thinking, look at this chart. It's completely down. How on earth can this be good? It's down 76% since its launch, which was only 7 months ago. Now, what I want to say is a lot of the reason why Myria came down was the downward price action based on dilution, okay? Myria runs nodes, which means that people who are operating nodes get returns. And many of the node operators simply sell the tokens for profits. And that is one of the main reasons why I believe Myria was dumping, simply because of the vesting, the dilution, people selling from the pre-sale, people selling from the nodes. And I think now it's reaching a level that has evened out. And you can actually see this month, Myria has been extremely bullish. Now, me and my Patreons, we were buying Myria pretty heavily down at the lows. Okay, we were buying it pretty heavily down here, and we're already starting to see some lucrative gains on Myria. Very good to see. I believe we're up around 40 to 50% on our money just off the times in which we've been buying very heavily. So that is another reason why you should check out the Patreon, guys. I drop buy alerts for the projects when I'm buying them. I think it's still very early to get into it. I wouldn't be surprised if this project does around a 1 to 200x this bull run. As I mentioned before, it's very doable when you compare it to Gala and other gaming projects like last bull run that succeeded. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. I discussed a lot of things relating to Myria, such as the team, the market cap, competition, and all important things relating to the project. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like on the video, drop a comment down below, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Goodbye.